Remember the type of feeling you have when you are out in the woods with your friends next to the campfire, perhaps? When you're away from the city, when you're away from all the light pollution, alright? And you happen to direct your gaze upwards to the night sky. And what you see is this multitude of stars, right? Tiny dots of light twinkling over a background of darkness. And you ask yourself, what is this? I bet you remember that feeling, because I've never met a person in my entire life who wouldn't feel a sense of peace or wonderment when they look up at the stars. There's something very captivating about stargazing, something that engulfs us, something that teleports us to an entire new dimension of thinking and being. And the reason why this happens is perhaps because the night sky is really a contrast to the way we live our lives, because our lives are chaotic, they're full of turmoil. There's something happening, something moving, something's in transition, something is changing. There's too much going on. While the night sky, that's constant. It's always been there, right? It was there before you were born, it's gonna be there after you die. Generations will come and go. In fact, the whole human race will perish. But the universe will be the same. It's big, it's permanent, it's beautiful. And I guess we wish to identify ourselves with that, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is not just beauty. I mean, yes, we feel a sense of wonderment and awe when we look up to the stars, but there is one more feeling that we experience, and it's called insignificance. Yes, to anyone with some basic knowledge of astrophysics, it is clear that the universe is enormous. It's gigantic, it's humongous, it's massive. In fact, any word I can come up with is an understatement. The universe is incomprehensibly big. And when we realize that, it begins to change the way we think. Because when you look up, you ask yourself, what are these tiny dots? And you realize that they themselves are stars, and they've got their own planets, and there are billions of these, right? Together they form galaxies, and galaxies form clusters. Clusters form superclusters. It's way too big to even sink inside our heads. That's when you realize that humanity might just be a race of tiny worms wiggling over a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam, as Carl Sagan puts it. But the point is that when we begin to look at ourselves from this grand universal perspective, we realize that maybe we are not that special, maybe we are not that important, maybe all of this wasn't made for us, maybe this is not out of intent, it just exists. And that idea, if once it gets inside your head, that idea can literally shift the way you think. It can transform the person you are. And of course, there's a lot of psychological pressure on you caused by your own mind when you begin to wrap your head around these things, because as a species, as a society, we are not driven by such facts. We are power-hungry territorial apes, right? Our brains were never meant for science or philosophy. We just discovered it, and now we have no idea what to do with it. So there will be a lot of resistance, both from your part and from everyone around you, the moment these sort of ideas begin to enter your head and your society. But once they get in, they would literally open up an entire new dimension of thinking, and the way you see the world will completely transform from that point on. Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, captures this very beautifully in the very first episode. Make sure you give it a watch. Side note, you're telling me you don't know about Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos? What the heck have you been doing with your life? There are links in the description, make sure you watch it. And once you begin to understand the scale of the universe, once you begin to look at things from this cosmic perspective, you realize that everything we live by, every social standard that we have constructed, even the systems that we have put in place to govern our life, everything around us is just imagined by humans, right? It's not universal, and maybe that's why it's not big of a deal. I mean, sure, these things are important, but everything is put to the test. All psychological structures that we have built, all social rules that we have built, the political systems that we have built, everything gets down to the test. And we really begin to think what matters. We realize that all religions have been invented by us. Nations are not universal. There are no lines on the globe. There are no lines from the moon when you look at Earth. It's just us that made them. And this sort of an experience gives you the opportunity to question the pre-established order of society. And then you begin to ask yourself, is it really important to fight over these trivial things? Do you think racism would exist if people were more aware of what their place is in the universe? Do you think money would be that big of a factor? Sure, it would be necessary, but it wouldn't be driving people's life, right? Do you think trivial political quarrels would be of any value? Or do you think anything that involves our ego would be important anymore? No, because when you truly realize what you are, your ego dissolves. In fact, it shatters in front of the size of the universe. The universe doesn't care. We are just here. Everything breaks down, and for a moment it might seem like we might lose all sense of direction and all meaning, and that's true. It's very hard to digest in the beginning, but over time it can take us in the right direction. I'll tell you how. Once you realize, for example, take religion. Once you realize that all religions are basically invented by man, you begin to understand that there's only one true religion, humanity. Once you realize that all nations are our own invention, you realize that there's only one true nation, and that's Earth. Once you realize how fragile and delicate life is from a universal perspective, we begin to value it. Right? We become conservationists. We protect not just ourselves, but everything that's living and breathing. Carl Sagan says that astronomy is a humbling profession, and this is what he exactly means by that. But I would go up to an extent to say that astronomy is a transformative profession, because when people adopt these mindsets, they literally evolve into a new psychological subspecies of humanity. These people are equipped with far better ethical and moral compasses. They can more effectively focus on what makes us human and what makes us better, rather than being stuck between the trivial fuss that we have invented out of our delusions that we have been constructing since the dawn of our civilizations. These people can and will build a better society. They don't identify themselves by the same generic social structures. In fact, they use a ever-growing scientific awareness and rationality to build their own identities. I know I went a little overboard with that, but the point is that I invite you to be a part of this new species, that I invite you to encounter the human consciousness taking the next quantum leap. I invite you to be a part of this scientific revolution that's going to change the world. All you have to do is that next time when you go out, look up at the stars, look at those tiny dots, and allow the wonder, allow the awe to sink in. And ask questions like, what are these things? How big are they? And how far are they? And once you start chasing those answers, even before you realize, you'll find yourself in a place which is entirely new. You'll find yourself a different person. You'll find your perspective entirely shifted. You'll find yourself at a point from where the possibilities are endless. So, good luck for the journey. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. I'll see you next time.